Good morning, ladies. My name is Chaz, and welcome to the custom card reviews. I haven't done these in a while, so it's good to have to see them back in action. So in this is the dark or craziest ones. These are like broken cards. So let's get into it before we run out of time. So this one is a monster display of darkness. So do you see that little plant in the yeah? That's a monster plant. And he's on a display case. And this little goblin looking thing is looking at him like, I want that to be mine. Kind. So, yeah. So, it's at dark, but I don't want to make it all black, so that's the background. So, this one, all monsters from your opponent's field cannot activate their effects and can't declare an attack until this card leaves the field. And, for once per turn. Once per turn, during your main phase 1, you can select one card from your deck to reveal to your opponents. And then you add it. Then you can add that card to your hand, and then your opponent gains 200 life points. If this card is sent to the grave, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent's life points for each card from both players' graveyard and or field. This card's effects cannot be negated by card effects. So this whole all monsters from your opponent's field represents your opponent's monsters is on the display case. Things. They can't attack. They can't do nothing with their monsters. They can't activate their effects. So, outrage, any monster that have the attack things. Yeah. So yeah, basically your opponent has dead monsters on the field. And now, Monster Printer of Darkness. This card is named after 3D printer. That's why it has the reference of 3D printer. Once per turn, during each player's end phase, either player's end phase, you can select one monster from either player's graveyards or battlestones to be shuffled into your deck or into the deck. Then you can special summon one token that has the same stance as the monster that was selected by this card's effects to be on the field in attack mode. If it gets destroyed by battle or by card effects, you can add one card from anywhere to your field or to your hand for once per turn. If this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle this card into your deck. I can't read that. From anywhere and shuffle it. And then your opponent must discard all 5 cards from the top of their decks to the graveyards. And if it does, then you draw 5 cards from the top of your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect for once per turn. This card's effects cannot be negated by card effects or can't be chained to it. See, I realized, because I'm one of those Yu-Gi-Oh! School players, or one of those players for Yu-Gi-Oh! I see a lot of cards that are could be chained to it. Like, I activate this card. Nope, I use Ash Blossom to chain to that monster. There's a lot of chain things going. So I decided to make this card have can't be chained by card effects. So it's basically, it has its own. So yeah. So with these 2 cards, this one, Hun, could allow your opponent to not attack or activate monster effects. And you also, I just realized, when making these 2 cards, they both are opposites to each other's. Basically, if you had, like, say, a spell card that, or some effect that that allows you to take, like, your opponent's fusion monster, synchro, XYZ, or anything from their extra deck to the graveyard, you could have used this card to select that monster. Like, say, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, or 5-Headed Dragon. Send it back to you, the extra deck, shuffle it, and then you automatically have a dragon type token that has the same stats as the original. Yeah. I know it has that, like, thing, but this one, you could basically send. If you had 3 of these, they would be, but they all have once per turns on their effects. So basically, you could only use 1 for each. So, yeah. And this one would be for, like, during your main phase 1. You could select a card, earn, reveal it. Like, if you wanted a card like Solemn Strike, or any card from your, is it from your any deck? Yeah, from your deck. So basically, you could just grab Jar of Greed, or Cyclone, or any spell cards, or anything from your deck. You could even search that card out, and you could activate it during your main phase 1. So yeah, both of these 2 cards would be in a deck that would be, they could do things separate or together. If they're together, it would probably be like, you had to destroy this card first, or somehow, and this card second. Because this one, your opponent loses, like, it says, You can inflict 500 damage to your opponent's life points for each card from both players' graveyards and or fields. So I was thinking, so each monster, like from your side and your opponent, is 500. Like, so it's basically 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. That's 50 damage. Or I'm gonna say 50,000 damage. But, yeah. It's just like, it would be, that's how powerful this card would be. That's why it's called broken cards. Because this one allows you to use its graveyard effect to send, your opponent must send 5 cards from the top of their deck to the graveyard. And then when you activate that, its graveyard effect, you could just be like, I'm done. Boom. You could shuffle this card, or I think, yeah, you can inflict damage if it goes to the graveyard. Yeah. But I know there's a couple cards that send cards to the banner zone instead of graveyard. But, yeah. But the next card that I'm thinking about making is something crazy. Don't ask me how crazy it is. I'm thinking that it would have the opposite effect as the monster display of darkness. Yes. It would be like all cards from your opponent's field cannot activate. That would be like, and hand. And so, yeah. It is crazy. Not as crazy as my Mario custom. Yeah. Because these ones, like this one, you had to send it to the grave to special summon it somehow. And then you got this. If it's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your, with 4,000 attack points. And if it does, you can activate one of these following effects. Yeah, and then, Wario, is basically, once per turn during your opponent's draw phase, you can select 3 cards from your opponent's hand to be added to your hand. Yeah, basically this one is like robber. Basically, like you could just grab cards from your opponent's hand and then you can special summon, if this card is sent to the grave or banner zone, you can special summon this card from anywhere to your field in attack mode. But its attack points are doubled. And if it does, you can add 2 cards from your deck to your hand. Yeah, so this card would add like 2 spell cards. Then Hammer Her Turtle is your opponent takes 100 damage. Yeah. And then if this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from anywhere to your field in attack mode. If it does, you can gain 500 life points for each card this card has. or for each level this card has. Yeah. And then this one is basically you roll a dice and gains these like effects. Depends on it. Like one is both players draw 9 cards from the top of their decks to their own hands. Discards 5, so that makes it 4 cards in your hand. 2 or 3, you can add 2 spell cards from, and then such. This one you could choose, it was like basically anything. Yes, 6-sided die, boom. And yeah. So then, but there's one card that I really want. It has to evolve around this one that allows you to basically add 3 rolls instead of like 1 roll. But this one, 1 or 2, add spell cards, trap cards, special summon a monster anywhere to your field in attack mode. And if you have this card on the field, you can select one card or select one of these effects instead of rolling. So yeah. So this one, you could have just chose like number 1 or number 2 to just add like, yeah. And that's basically it. So there's, so the cards that I showed you today is 2 for this one and 6 for this one. That would be 8 cards for today. I will, yeah. And some of these cards, like random Yu-Gi-Oh, these ones are just like crazy. Like this one, Finger of Rocket. Yeah. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to read the entire effect out of these. So, yeah. So each one, this one, allows you to basically, yeah. So this one, return attack is you could make 4 attacks and boom. This one, what if Chaos Zuku? I was thinking about doing a what if like archetype to fuse all the what ifs into that archetype. But I don't know what some of the what ifs all about. And so if you guys want me to do a custom what if of archetype, please leave it in the comments below if you want more. And then Lightning of Reborn, you could special summon all monsters from your graveyard to your field, attack mode, ignoring their summoning conditions for once per turn. So basically, it is like, I activate this card, or activate that card. But this one, instead of having to deal with all the, like, boring parts, like, I summon a monster, or activate the monster reborn, bring it back, monster reborn, yeah. And then if this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle this card into the graveyard or deck from anywhere and then shuffle it. And then you draw 2 cards from the top of your deck. If it does, then send all cards from your opponent's field and hand to the graveyard. It was destroy all cards from your opponent's field and hand to the graveyard, but some of them have the can't be destroyed by card effects, so just send them. Yeah. And yeah. And now I just thought about this one. So if like say you tribute 2 monsters or 3 to summon Egyptian card, you could activate this, brings all the monsters out, and you could also use like sacrifice 3 of them, the special summon, or then activate that monster printer of darkness to basically send or to grab like Outledge or any other card to have tokens on your field. And yeah. And with a healed spell, this card would be broken in most decks. Like here. Let me move this to here we go. So yeah. So this one mixed with this one mixed with this one. All 3 of these could just be like, you could instantly win. You would have had 2 most powerfulest monsters, if your opponent has any. And you could also summon, you could also stop your opponent's effects. This is like skill drain, but it's watered down to just your opponent. Or should I say bumped up? So, I don't know. I'm letting you all decide that. If you had to give this archetype 3, or the Dark and Mario and the, where is it? The trying to think. Where is it? Yu-Gi-Oh cards, herds thing. It's hard. So yeah. If you had to give if I ever, or I know that I created these cards, but if I had to give this archetype a rating between this, and this, it would have had to be 9 out of 10. Or, because for me, I could see one flaw in it. Yeah. Like, you could have just used, you just need a powerful, like, Egyptian card that allows you to sacrifice all 3 monsters to the graveyard to bring it out. But I don't remember any other cards that have that same ability. XYZ, yes. And yeah. So, yeah. Basically, I could see that happening, but just imagine if there was a 4th card that will fix that problem. That allows you to add all 3 of these cards to your hand. Yeah. So, keep in mind, the duellogs, if you're making the custom card, this is a heavy heart for me. I want you to the duellogs to give your opinions on these 3 cards. Okay? So I want you to do that stuff. So please leave a like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'll put what archetype for how many likes. I'm gonna ask for a like goal. Okay? In the description. So yeah. So bye.